Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a zombie horror film, MIRUTHAN. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with some shots of a chemical plant filled with hazardous waste materials. In the middle of a normal day at work, some of the chemical workers spill toxic waste on the road, but quickly cover it up and drive away as if nothing has happened. However, they causally leave the puddle of toxic chemicals unattended, and then a messy dog walks up to the puddle and drinks from it. The guard at the chemical plant throws some rocks at the dog, trying to shoo it away, but it's too late as the dog transforms into a zombie beast shortly after. The zombie dog confronts the guard and avoids the stones he throws at it. The zombie dog jumps its warm body into the guard's arms, not for a hug, but attacks him in a brutal fashion, which ends up leaving a scar on his arm. The guard comes back home to his nagging mother, who insults him for being a useless son who can't even fight a dog. All is not well as the guard savagely eats his meal, as if he is a wild animal. The mother comments on his eating habits, but soon enough, the guard turns into a zombie and attacks his mother by jumping into her arms for a motherhood hug. The zombie takes a bit out of the mother, and then the guard's wife shows up to smack the zombie away into a room and lock him up. Unfortunately, the mother also turns into a zombie and attacks the wife. Zombie guard breaks free from the room and joins zombie mother as they feast on the wife. After a brief struggle, the wife escapes and tries to run away from her attackers. She bumps into a gang of goons who try to assault her, but the wife also turns into a zombie and kills all the goons with her superhuman strength. Now we see some young doctors and policemen taking their pledge to do some honorable work for their communities. However, two traffic cops, Beardy and Junior, simply munch on their snacks instead. Now a young doctor named Young and her brother rush towards the hospital, but are stopped by the two cops. They learn that Young's brother doesn't have any insurance, so they try to get some money from them. However, Beardy spots that Young is in distress, so he allows her to pass through. This is observed by a cop named Senior. He asks Junior why Beardy is only a traffic cop, but Beardy says he's voluntarily taken this job because it is of lower risk. It turns out that Beardy lost both his parents when he was only 13 years old, and now he only has his sister to take care of. We see Beardy dropping his beardless sister off at school. Then he goes to provide protection at a Minster's rally, along with Junior and Senior. However, Senior notices a pregnant lady who is unable to go to the hospital due to the traffic interference caused by the minister. Beardy tells Senior to be patient, but he ignores this advice and allows the pregnant lady to pass. This angers the minister, so he sends his goons to attack Senior. Luckily, Beardy flexes his bulletproof muscles and punches the goons away with just one strike. The minister doesn't like what Beardy has done, so he gives him a stare while leaving. Beardy scolds Senior for being instinctive and laments over what might happen to his sister if he loses his job. Now, the sister tells Beardy that he needs to get married soon and hires a marriage pimp agent to find him a woman. Beardy scouts through some women, but eventually backs out at the last moment. At night, Beardy stops a drunk doctor named Vodka, who's on his way to the commissioner's house. Beardy is about to take down his license and registration, but Vodka argues that he's friends with the commissioner and has only had one beer. Beardy still acts tough, but then we see that Vodka is with Young, as they are apparently engaged. She gets annoyed and bribes Beardy, so he allows them to drive away. Beardy reveals to Junior that he likes Young, whose picture he's keeping in his wallet. Beardy then breaks into a song and dance. There, we see a flashback to when he helped Young save an innocent man from some goons. This was when they took a selfie together, although Beardy was wearing a mask. Now, when Beardy sees Young with Vodka at a park shooting balloons, he feels angry and releases his frustration by shooting through an entire stack of balloons. His jealousy continues to grow as he keeps toying with Vodka by smacking him in the pool and also locking his car's tires. The sister says she wants to see Young, but Beardy is hesitant, so she and Junior chase after him. They eventually catch Beardy, and then all of them have a pillow fight. In the night, an unsuspecting couple is savagely attacked by a zombie who first kills the wife and then takes the smelly husband away. The next day, the sister reads a newspaper, but is suddenly kidnapped by an unknown person. Beardy looks around for his sister, but is unable to find her, so he begins to panic. Suddenly, a zombie awakens from the floor above Beardy and jumps into his warm arms for a zombie hug. But Beardy blocks the zombie with a cloth and smacks him away. However, the zombie is extra strong, and he fights Beardy with ease. After a brief struggle, Beardy pushes the zombie away with a cricket bat and knocks him over a railing. Now, Beardy spots a little girl hanging by a window and thinks that it's his sister, so he calls out to her. However, this girl is also shown to be a zombie, and she attacks Beardy. He manages to shove her chicken body away into a dustbin, and then he gets a call from Junior, who tells him that there is a severe situation. So Beardy rides away in his Tesla bike, but another zombie shows up and grabs onto the bike, intending for a free hitchhike. Beardy is able to break free of the zombie and rushes to the police station, where there is complete chaos outside. The commander briefs everyone on the zombie virus, which was first found and contained in an Eastern European city, but has now reached India thanks to the chemical waste company. He explains that the virus is like an accelerated form of rabies that attacks the human brain through bites. There is no antidote for the zombie virus, and the Europeans managed to control it simply by killing all the infected zombies. Unfortunately, one of the officers is revealed to have been bitten and eventually turns into a zombie and attacks Senior. The zombie gets shot in the head and dies. But Senior has been bitten, so the others try to save him. It's of no use as Senior turns into a zombie and attacks Beardy, so he gets shot down. The cops are told that they must shoot on sight and prevent anyone from leaving the city. The containment process begins in a hectic fashion, but Beardy also gets busy making posters for his missing sister. He shoots down a couple of zombies in the process, but is unable to find his sister. Now, Beardy gets a call from an unknown person who says that he knows where his beardless sister is. Beardy and Junior rush to his location and confront the caller, who points to an operating room. The two charge into the room and find Young along with all the top doctors. She says that the doctors are working on an antidote to the virus, but the facilities are not available in the city. Beardy is given some bad news when Young reveals that she is the minister's daughter and his sister has been kidnapped by his goons. This pisses off Beardy, so he brings Young on his way to the minister's house. However, there are multiple zombies outside, so Beardy and Junior shoot at them. Junior is shown to be a terrible shot, and Young makes it difficult for Beardy to save him by covering his eyes. She reasons that the zombies are patients of a disease, but Beardy saves Junior and tells Young to shut up her smelly mouth. The team gets into a car and drives towards their target location, but then Young is attacked by a zombie on the way. Beardy and Junior tease Young, and Young eventually realizes that she was talking bullshit earlier, so she tells Beardy to shoot the zombie, and he obliges. Meanwhile, the doctors work on a sample zombie to figure out an antidote, but another zombie shows up and breaks through the window. The doctors take their samples and run away, but a couple of them are killed before they can make it to a safe room. Beardy and the team have to deal with another zombie on their way, but manage to shake it off and reach the minister's house. They find it empty and look around. Then Junior finds the minister cowering on top of a cupboard. Junior mistakes his ugly face to be a zombie, so he shoots at him, but misses it as usual. Beardy and Young reach the scene and learn from the minister that his staff has become infected with the virus. The minister apologizes to Beardy for his goons kidnapping Beardy's beardless sister, and then he directs the team to the pool, where she's trying to fend off the bloodthirsty zombies. Luckily, Beardy arrives in time and shoots down the zombies. He then swims towards his sister to unite with her. The team is attacked by another zombie, but manages to kill her while also realizing that water is a weakness of the zombies. Now Young convinces Beardy to transport the doctors to a hospital in a nearby city, where Vodka is working on the antidote. Beardy and Junior go to the hospital to save the doctors, but have to get through some zombies. Junior's poor firing skills almost cost Beardy his life, but he's still able to reload his gun and kill a zombie that attacks him. They find the doctors later and take them to a police van, but they abandon one of the doctors, who gets bitten on the way to the van. Now, the team is stopped by the police on their way out of the city, but the minister manages to convince them to let the van pass. One doctor is revealed to have been bitten when the team spots blood on his clothes. Another doctor sneakily throws the infected doctor out of the van, and then he asks everyone to check for bite marks. He realizes that he has also been bitten, but hides his bite mark to avoid suspicion. The team reaches their target location, but notice that it is also infected with zombies. The minister goes out to enjoy the view, but immediately cries in his chicken voice when all the zombies pass by him. Unfortunately, the minister is spared by the zombies, who take human, not chicken. But he loses his clothes and gets back in the truck with his smelly underpants. Meanwhile, Beardy unleashes all his weapons and takes on the zombie army. However, he runs out of ammo and has to drive the van away with zombies holding onto it. The zombies try to break into the van, but Beardy acts fast and gets rid of the zombies by shaking them off through a narrow entrance. The team reaches an abandoned area where the minister finds another cloth to cover his smelly part. However, he awakens more zombies, and it leads to another chaotic sequence. Beardy is unable to take on all the zombies, but Junior finally manages to land a shot and save him. But then, Junior is bitten by a zombie, after which he seemingly runs into Beardy's arms to bite. However, it turns out that Junior was simply hugging Beardy. The bitten doctor wants to check Junior's foot for a bite mark, but he is luckily shown to have been saved by his shoe. The teen reaches the hospital, but it is shown to be surrounded by zombies. The team enters a neighboring mall through the parking lot, but has to deal with more zombies. There, Beardy finally manages to share a moment with Young when he saves her from a zombie and holds her close. The team then runs into a useless guard. He takes the team to the grocery section, where Young calls Vodka and asks him to collect the samples from the mall. However, Vodka refuses her request, so she takes out her frustration on Beardy. Things get worse when the bitten doctor turns into a zombie and kidnaps Beardy's sister. Realizing that there is an imposter among them, Beardy chases after Zombie Doctor and attacks him. But it is too late as his sister gets bitten. Beardy becomes emotional and attacks Zombie Doctor with rage. The sister wakes up and the team fears the worst, but she is shown to be fine for now. Beardy takes her away to a shop because he doesn't want the others to kill her when she turns into a zombie. Time passes by, so Young forces her way inside the shop to take a blood sample and reveals that the sister is 90% infected. This breaks Beardy's heart, and then the sister asks Young to help him marry the girl of his dreams. Luckily, the other doctors show up and reveal that the sister has antibodies that can fight off the zombie virus. Now, the team has to send the girl to the hospital so that the antidote can be made, and then the guard reveals that there's a fire truck inside the mall. Beardy uses the water pipe to take his sisters and the others to the hospital while fending off the zombies, but Young is left behind. The sister is rushed inside to be studied, but Beardy's water supply runs out. The zombies are about to break through to Young, and even Vodka says he can't go out of the hospital to save her. To Young's surprise, Beardy forces his way through the zombies and reaches her, but he is bitten on the way. Regardless, he says that he will send Young to the hospital before he transforms. A fierce and painful sequence begins, where Beardy savagely fights the zombies and protects Young at the same time. However, he is bitten multiple times and seemingly attacks Young. But instead, he licks the blood off her neck and uses it to control himself long enough to fight the zombies and take her to safety. Young drags Beardy inside the hospital as well, but he begs her to shoot him because he can't control his zombie urges anymore. Young doesn't want to do this, but Beardy transforms and attacks her, so she shoots him with tears in her crocodile eyes. Now, the doctors use the sister's blood to create a new antidote, but Young spots the selfie she took with Beardy in his wallet and learns that she is the girl who the sister was talking about earlier. The movie ends 2 days later when we learn that Zombie Beardy has survived the gunshot and is riding on top of an ambulance. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.